Don't hang up that phone. We've found what you're looking for. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cabling Podcast with Chuck Bowser, RCDD. Well, seeing how we're pulling Category 6A, the most powerful twisted pair in the world, you gotta ask yourself this one question. Did I pull 295 or 300 feet? Well, do you feel lucky? Do you, punk? What exactly does RCDD stand for? Registered Communications Distribution Designer. Just the expert you need to ensure your cable plant performs exactly as designed. The elite professional, knowledgeable, and experienced in leading-edge ICT design principles. Now, send the new guy to the truck for a bucket of dial tone and the cable stretchers, while you listen to an informative program on telecommunications.
All right. There we go. Welcome to Thursday night after hours. Ask Chuck Bowser, RCDD. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. This is one of those nights where we don't have any questions. So, if you have a question, submit it now. Submit it now. We don't have any questions that were submitted in advance. So, there you go. It is what it is. And I've had a very busy week. So, as you can probably tell. So After Hours Live, where you get to ask Chuck Bowser, RCDD, your favorite copper and fiber questions, career path questions, whatever questions you may have about communications or career. So we're here. We always start off every show with, what are you drinking? Chuck's drinking water. Chuck's drinking water. No Zevia today for Chuck. I'm just drinking water. Tell me in the comments, what are you drinking? What are you drinking? This is an after-hour show, so you can drink whatever it is that you so desire. I just happen to be just drinking water. We also make sure that you don't forget, for those who are not on TikTok, but the rest of everybody else who's watching us on LinkedIn and YouTube and all the other fun places, make sure that you click on the QR code, which will be right there. There it is. Click on that QR code. You can schedule a one-on-one with me, after hours, of course. You can buy me a cup of coffee. You can have access to all of our websites, LinkedIn, YouTube, our website, all that fun stuff. So make sure you click on that QR code. And next thing we do is the acronym challenge. The acronym challenge, all right? But before we do the acronym challenge, we know I got to give the public service announcement. Help control the acronym population. Don't forget to spay or neuter with your acronyms. We have enough already. So the acronym for today is CSI. CSI. I don't have a graphic for it because I just ran out of time. So the acronym is CSI. What is CSI? Kim's in the house. Hello, Kim. Near beer. What is near beer? I don't think I've ever heard of near beer before. Are you reading that project management manual, Kim? Let me know. So yeah, the acronym for today is CSI. What does that mean? Anybody will take a guess? Let's see if anybody knows in the chat book. Nope, nobody knows. Anybody in the LinkedIn chat? Has anybody guessed what CSI means? Nope. It stands for Construction Specifications Institute. They're the ones who do the AIA stuff. So there you go. Motivational minutes. And this one's inspired by one of my favorite ones. And I don't know who this is attributed to, but the quote is, set a goal so big that you can't achieve it until you grow into the person who can achieve it. I'll say that again. Set a goal so big that you can't achieve it until you grow into the person who can achieve it. So it's way too often.
Before I click off, just want to make sure there's nothing else I got to do.
Hold on 1 second. I don't know what this thing's doing now. Hold on one second. Hold on a second. You are good to go. And training. What's it doing? I don't know what this stupid thing's doing now. My computer's acting funky. Really, really,
Does
really.
it send a certification thing, or
Hold on one
didn't see
second.
anything pop up for it?
Hold on one second. I'm having issues here. There we go. I think I fixed it that time. Yep. There we go. Sorry about that. I had a video playing in the background. I don't know how that happened. It just happens sometimes, right? So there we go. So what does she say there? It's a very good manual. Are you studying for your RTPM, Kim? Just let me know. So yeah, so getting back to the motivational minutes, we are often limited. We limit our dreams by what we can achieve now. If I did that, I wouldn't be an RCDD. I wouldn't be a technician. I wouldn't be doing what I do now. You got to think. You got to think of beyond what you're capable of today, right? Above what you're capable of today. You will grow into it. You got to. We often operate in our comfort zone out of fear or for whatever reason. I challenge everybody here today to pick a goal that you don't think that you can achieve, and go for it. Okay, and break it up into. And the way you get that big goal is you break it up into smaller goals and make smaller, more manageable, more achievable goals. And then they kind of snow pile up on each other. And next thing you know, you've achieved that big goal. So pick one that's going to be good for you. Now, moving on to the next section of the show, pro tips. Pro tip number 12. Store the blade of your punch tool to protect the cutting edge. I have a punch tool right here. Here we go. What do I mean by that? So here we have a standard punch tool, right? Standard punch tool like everybody else has. Let me flip that over so I can see the camera, which I got it set up right. Regular punch tool, right? It's got the blade inside of it. This has a 110 blade. Now, if you actually look, hold upside down, you look real carefully, you'll notice, I'll put my hand so you can see it, the top part of that has a cutting ledge to it, right? So my TikTok people can see it. Now, the problem is, if you drop this punch tool, you can dull your blade. Now, I happen to drop it into a post-it pad, so I didn't hurt it. But if you drop it down and hit the concrete floor, it will dull that blade. So take that blade, turn it, pull it out, lip it, stick it in so the cutting ledge is inside the tool. Now, if you happen to drop it, you're not going to dull your blade. That's going to help you make your blade last longer. Okay? And the reason I say do it that way is there is a spot in the back. There's a spot in the back of this that you can store this in. But sometimes some technicians have both 110 and 66 blades. So you may already have a blade inside of that. You might have the 66 blade in there. So turn that 110 blade backwards so that way it's protected. Right? If you don't have the 66 blade, because let's be honest, not everybody has 66 blades now, right? Then you can't put it in the back. If you notice, it doesn't go in all the way. So what you do is you got to spin that top button till it falls in, let go. Now watch this. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, doesn't come out. To get it out, you spin the tool up, spin the thing again, and stick it in there, and then this thing is ready to punch. Okay? Now, blades aren't necessarily that expensive. They run about 40 bucks. But the problem is, how much time do you waste? How much time do you waste because you got a dull blade, because you're having to repunch stuff? See, people don't think about that kind of stuff. I do. So make sure that you do that. So this has been get back to my thing here. So that was the pro tip for the week. You probably noticed that there was no show this Monday. It was Memorial Day. I took it off in remembrance of those who paid for our freedom. So I didn't work Monday. So there was no show on Monday. I'll resume again next Monday. Something else I want to point out. So those who know me know that I just had a birthday recently, right? I just had, what's a pro tip? Update your test results often to flash drive or PC, especially when doing your large jobs. Oh, Cable Beaver, that is a good one. That's going to be officially pro tip 147. 147. That's a good one. Did you hear what he said? Cable Beaver on TikTok. I'll read it again. He says, upload your test results often to a flash drive or PC, especially when you're doing a large project. That way, if you happen to have a problem, a glitch, you don't lose all your test results. That's a great one. A great one. Well, anyways, get back to my original subject. Those who know me know I had a birthday this week, right? Now, you probably wonder, what did Chuck buy himself for his birthday? He probably bought something for his Harley. He probably bought something for the boat. No. You know what I did? I kind of did something big. Something big. Ready? I purchased my own set of standards. Yes, a complete set of ANSI standards. So now when people ask me questions or they say, hey, that's not in the standard, I go, yeah, hold on a second. Let me look that up. Residential standard, that'd be the 570. Let me see, where's my 570? Up there's my 570. And I can look it up and I go, yeah. I have my own personal set of standards. Isn't that cool? Yes. So yeah, if you have any standard questions, make sure that you submit them and I will answer them for you. The only thing, my IHS, if you're listening, next time, give me 2 binders. This thing just barely fits in this thing. It's a pain in the neck. So I got a complete set of the standards. I'll set them right there so you guys can be all jealous of my standards. Yeah. I got another question for you. Again, I'm waiting for people to submit questions because I had no questions submitted early for this week. So submit your questions now. Another question I had that I put out on TikTok this week. Actually, I think I did it yesterday. Now I think about it. I got into a conversation with somebody recently, and it was one of the manufacturers, one of the cable manufacturers, and they were telling me that they are taking out the ripcord out of the cable. And I asked them why, and they said, "Well, the ripcord is really used to tear the jacket for long lengths and blah 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 blah." I'm like, "No, it's not. The ripcord is used for when you're stripping with your snips, right? So you scar the jacket, you bend it, you snip it, then you use ripcord to pull it down another inch, then you cut off the excess around that." So my question to you, everybody listening tonight, snips or strippers? Snips or strippers? Which do you prefer? Let me know in the chat box. Now, my preference is always going to be to use strippers because they're precise. Because I can strip cable with snips. I can. I did it for many years. But what happens if you're underneath that desk and you're listening to your favorite podcast, and all of a sudden you're digging too deep, and then you go, oh man, you just broke it, right? With the strippers, that's not quite the issue, is it? Right? You basically just take the stripper, you open it up, you put the cable in, do one circle around, pop it open, and then you snap it, pull it off, and ready to go. So my question, like I said, I asked is, do you use snips or strippers? Kim says she used snips. What does everybody else say? What do you say? So let me see. George says, don't want any shiners. So George, you have obviously either been in one of my classes or you've stripped cable before. Which is it? Inquiring minds want to know. A lot of old people, when I say old, I don't mean necessarily physically old, but people who've got a lot of years experience tend to use these. They tend to use those. And so I asked them, well, if you're taking that out, that's going to cause some problems because they're going to have some issues. Right? It is. So the next question is, Chuck, can you explain the different classifications of the different administration levels for the 606 standard? There are 4 levels of administration. 4 levels. Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and Class 4. So Class 1 is going to be a premise served by a single equipment room. Class 2 is going to be a single building or tenant served by 1 or more telecom rooms. Class 3 is going to be a campus. Class 4 will be multiple sites. Depending on which classification your job falls under, that's going to tell you what components you actually have to label. Right? So, for example, for a class 1 job, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I might get it right. For class 1, you got to label the telecom room. You got to label the, let me think here. You know, my brain is just shot today. I've had a really bad day today. Hold on one second. There we go. There we go. So class 1, you've got to label, sorry about that, guys. You got to label the telecom space. You got to label the cable itself, bonding bus bar, and the secondary bonding bus bar. Class 2, you got to label all those, plus the building backbone cable, the backbone pair, optical fiber, and the fire stop locations. Class 3, you got to label all of those, plus the campus backbone pair, optical fiber, and the building. Class 4, you got to label all of those and the sites, the building site. You know, when it comes to labeling, what labeling scheme do you use? Let me know in the chat box. What labeling scheme do you use? The common ones that people love to use are sequential. You know, drop number 1, drop number 2, drop number 3, drop number 4. Another common one is rooms. Mark's in the house. Mark, how you doing, my friend? I don't have any questions tonight, so we're just kind of ad hocing, talking about the 606 standard and administration. So the next way people like to label stuff is by room numbers. I've never understood that because room numbers change, right? They absolutely will change. My camera got bumped. There we go. There we go. Room numbers change, right? Let's say, for example, you got a project and there's 99 rooms on that floor. And one of those rooms is a conference room. Let's say it's room 109, right? 109. If you're labeling by the room numbers, what would you label those 2 drops in that room? 109A, 109B, 109.C, 109.A, 109.B, 109.1, 109.2, right? But let's say 2 years later, you have to come back and you have to add a drop in that room. Remember, there's 99 rooms on that floor. This is room 109. So you come back 2 years later and you have to put another drop. Well, what are you going to label that new drop? 109.3, 109C, right? The problem with that method is 109C or 3, whichever number you choose for that third drop, is going to be nowhere near 109A and 109B. If you're the service tech, that's going to cause you all kinds of problems when you go to test that cable because you're going to be looking for it. Now, some people say, well, Chuck, it's at the very end of the patch panels. No, it's not. They might have added drops after that. There's another kind of customer. They thought up some numbering sequence all on their own. Steve's in the house. Hello, Steve. There's another numbering sequence out there as well that customers usually think up, and it's really super involved, right? Like, for example, they'll make it up themselves. This is room 105D Charlie Alpha if it's a full-blood waxing crescent moon. They're the only ones who know how to decipher it. If you follow the standards, it is so simple. It is absolutely so simple. Because, for example, let's use one that I've seen in real life. So let's say you have a label on a faceplate that says 1A-45-01. 1A-45-01. Now, as a service tech, I know a couple things about this particular job site. I know A, there's more than one closet per floor, right? Which means at some point on that floor, there's a dividing line. So if there's a dividing line, if your desk is on this side of the dividing line, you go to that closet. If your desk is on this side of the dividing line, you go to that closet. But yet these 2 desks could be literally feet apart. If you're the service tech, you don't know where that line is usually. And you're going to say, okay, well, it probably goes to that closet over there. And when you go over there and you can't find it, then you go, well, it must be in the other closet, right? If you label by the standards, that 1-A is telling you it's at the A closet, not the B closet, the A closet. So you go to the A closet. Now remember, there was 1A-45-01. So when you walk into that A closet, you're going to find the patch panel that's in rack unit 45. Where's rack unit 45? Everybody know? If you know where rack unit 45 is, tell me in the chat box. Let's see how smart my group is today. I know Steve knows. I bet you Mark knows. I bet you even Kim knows, right? Rack unit 45 is at the top of the rack, okay? At the top of the rack. So if it's 45-01, that means it's port 1, 4501. I've never understood this about our industry. Patch panels come labeled. Why do we relabel them? Why do we relabel them? And where are half those labels 6 months after the job's done? Oh, very good. Mark points out it's at the top. Do you know why it's at the top, Mark? Do you know why the standard says 45 is supposed to be at the top for a 7-foot rack? I've mentioned it in the show before, right? So if you label by the rack unit number, you can use the numbers on the port on that patch panel. So you only have to put one label on it. Now I know my brother Todd from BS Solutions, from Brother Solutions, it's not going to like that because it's a lot less labeling tape he's got to sell. Sorry about that, brother Todd. But if you follow the standard, it makes it easy. It definitely makes it easy. So he says he doesn't know off the hand. So it's good. So Mark says he doesn't know off the top of his head, and that's okay. I didn't know either, literally, until about 3 months ago, right? Let me see. So let's see what this LinkedIn user says. He says, so the taller one's going to line. Ding, 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 ding. 10,000 points for that LinkedIn user who name is not showing up on my screen for some reason. 10,000 points for you, my friend. Yes. So the reason for that is there's lots of different size racks. You have 7-foot racks, 8-foot racks, and some other racks. But the most common ones that you're going to be installing are going to be 7-foot and 8-foot racks. If you start with number 1 at the top, let's say you got a 7-foot rack and an 8-foot rack sitting side by side. If you start with number 1 at the top, those numbers won't line up all the way down. If you start with number 1 even at the bottom, those rack unit numbers will line up all the way to the top until you get the rack unit 45. When you go to 46, then you're going above that 7-foot rack, right? So it makes actually absolute perfect sense. And that makes it a lot easier when you're doing, the documentation. Mark says that makes perfect sense. A lot of the racks now are actually putting the rack unit numbers on the racks, which I think is kind of cool. I think that's kind of cool. Some other things you'll find in that 6S, the administration standard, since I happen to have a copy of it, my own personal set of standards that I bought for my birthday. Yes. Talks about data center labeling. Data center labeling. Yeah. How do you label stuff in a data center? Well, one of the most common methods used is called the grid system, right? The grid system. So what you do is when you're looking inside of a data center, generally they have raised floor, and those floors are usually 2 feet by 2 feet. When you look when you look at a wall and you look at the top, you'll notice on one axis of the wall it'll say A, B, C, D, E, F, G every 2 feet, and then on the other wall it'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you want to know if you want to give a number to a one rack inside that data center, you'll go to where that rack is going to stand. You'll look up. Okay, this is in the B column, and this is in the number 3 column. So that would be C3, right? And then you can label C3-45-01. Makes it pretty simple, doesn't it? Pretty simple. Again, just so you know, I don't have any questions tonight. So if you have questions, make sure you submit them, both in the either the TikTok feed or the other feeds. Another thing you'll find in that standard is it talks about color coding termination fields. Now you see this a lot in your older PBX stuff, but you don't see it too much anymore. Although I have come across some people in the TikTok feeds and the low voltage nation feeds where they want to buy different kinds of color cable and patch cords. So they kind of utilize the still feed, but there are different colors associated with different things. Right. So, for example, let's say that I'm a service tech and I get asked to fix a payphone in a hotel that's not working. Right. So I get to the hotel, I check with the manager, They say, yeah, the payphone's over there. It's not working. So I go over, I pick up the phone, I listen. No dial tone. Dial tone, by the way, is called DTMF. Anybody know what DTMF stands for? There's an acronym challenge for you. 10,000 points to the first person who can tell me what DTMF stands for, right? Yes. So there's no dial tone. Now, as a service technician, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the PBX room. And what I want to do is I want to divide the problem in half. Okay, that's called half chunking. So dividing this problem in half, to me, the middle point would be, do I have dial tone coming into the building? So I'm going to take my butt set, and I'm going to go look for the blocks that are indicated with the color orange. Orange, right? Orange means incoming dial tone. So I'll find my orange blocks, I'll pop open the cap, or I'll look on the labels. I'll try to find the phone number for that payphone. I'm going to put my butt set on it. Ooh, yep, there it is. There it is. So let me see. Somebody thinks DTMF stands for dial tone mainframe. Actually, it stands for dual tone multi-frequency. Dual tone multi-frequency. I think it's dual tone, Steve. I'm gonna have to look it up. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this live. I'm gonna pull up my Bixby dictionary. We're gonna look up DTMF right now, right on the spot. And let's see who's right. I think it's dual tone multi-frequency. A, B, C, D. Here's the D. DTMF. Well, I'll be darned, they don't have it in the Bixby dictionary. Look at that. Wow, that's unusual. All right, all else fails, Google it, right? Google, don't fail me now. What does DTMF mean? Dual tone multi-frequency. Yes, 10,000 points to Chuck. Yes, I am the acronym king. Yes. Yes. Although somebody got me on an acronym yesterday that I didn't know. So it does happen. It does happen. So now I've verified that I have dial tone coming in the building. So the problem that way is fixed. Now I know the problem's this way. So that probably means that the horizontal cable is bad. Now the reason I want to check that dial tone first is because a lot of times your big corporations, once a year, they'll do an audit on their phone systems. What they'll do is they'll have the phone company print out all the phone numbers that they pay for and how often they've been used over the last 12 months. And they look for numbers that haven't been used or are very rarely used. So they come across a payphone, right? Everybody's got cell phones nowadays. Who uses a payphone? I don't even know where my cell phone is. It's floating around here somewhere. So nobody uses, very few people use payphones. So they look at that report and they say, oh, nobody uses this number. They don't realize it's the payphone because it doesn't say payphone. It just says the number. So turn that phone off. Let's save some money. Well, next thing you know, the payphone's not working, right? So that's why I want to check that dial tone first. So now I know that it's probably the horizontal cable that goes out to that payphone. The horizontal cable goes out to that payphone. Well, guess what color is indicated for horizontal cabling? Take a guess. Blue. Blue means horizontal. So, and the reason that's important is because in your large PBX rooms, it wouldn't be unusual to find every single wall covered with blocks. Every single wall. And if you weren't the regular technician there, you could literally spend a lot of time trying to figure out which one is the horizontal cables. But if they're colored blue, then you know that those are the horizontal cables, right? So now what I can do is I just got to put a tone on that cable and then test it for continuity. That's called half chunking, right? So that's what the blue means. There are other colors. For example, red. If you see something with a red color, now when I say color, so if you think about the blocks, right? The most common blocks that we use for telephony is going to be 66 blocks or 110 blocks. 66 blocks, you can buy the colored doors, right? Or you can buy what's called the backboard. The backboard is it can be either metal or it can be particle board. And then it got 89B brackets already attached to it. And they come colored, orange, blue, whatever color you want. So all you do is find one that's colored blue or colored orange if I'm looking for that demarcation cable. Real simple and easy to do. So for example, if you've got some fire alarm circuits coming in, fire alarm circuit, 10,000 points to the first person who can tell me what colors used to indicate fire alarms. What colors used to indicate fire alarms? 10,000 points, first person. I'll give you a few seconds. While you're answering that, I'm going to take a sip of my drink. I'll give you a hint. It's fire. 10,000 points to, can't quite read that, Neogata. It's red. It's red. Absolutely, it's red. Yep. If you got some kind of an alarm system, right, you got cables running out to the doors and stuff, guess what color that's going to be? Yellow. There's also colors associated for the backbones too. One color for the first level backbone, a different color for the yellow backbone. Now, orange is, like I said, used for the demarcation stuff. All right, we are at 6:30. Nobody's typed in any questions that I can see. Nobody's in the TikTok typing in questions. Nobody typed any questions here. And I apologize. I literally ran out of time. I really ran out of time. I normally have questions already done. I had questions that were submitted, but I didn't get the time to process them beforehand. So I'm going to put Steve on the spot right now. Steve, will you come on my show next Thursday night and talk to me about some cable test questions? Let me know if you're available next Thursday night. And then we'll do a show on that. So somebody says here, gray and brown. Hold on, I'm trying to read it. Gray and brown backbones. So now, here's the weird thing. It depends on whether you're in Canada or the US, right? So your first level backbone is going to be white. Your second level backbone will be gray. Outside of the US, they're different. Now, outside the US, for Canada, they use silver for common equipment and then purple for the first level backbone. So they kind of flip that. So kind of cool, right? So there you go. Good question, Mr. LinkedIn user. I appreciate that comment. We're at our 30-minute mark. Make sure you join us next Thursday night for another after-hours live stream, and I promise I'll be more coordinated then. Like I said, I taught a class today literally to the last second, and I appreciate everybody being here. Until next time, remember, everybody, knowledge is power.